Hello, am I audible? Good morning. Just give me a thumbs up if you're able to hear me loud and clear. Okay, fine. Okay, we'll start. Today, we'll wait for a minute and then we'll start. We'll go slow today. And today, I'm going to revise the topic, and if time permits, we'll mention it in the view side. We'll do some live exercise today to understand how exactly SQL thing works and why SQL is needed. I would like you to what I want to do is first 10 minutes will actually try to give the time back to you to see what questions you have in the first session. After that, I will just try to recap some of the key concepts that I have taught by far, and then we'll move. Okay? Is the time, it is your time. You start asking question. If you have any other questions, please go ahead and ask question. Okay, I also want to, can I unmute people? I don't know. Can you, Srinivas, would you like to unmute and try asking your any specific question? I see only 5 or 6 in the session. If you have not joined, please join in. It is your time and go ahead and ask question. How did the exercise go? Were you able to solve some of the question? So Vishnu, sir, please explain subquery and correlated subquery. Understood. I will explain that. Okay. Vishnu, while you are asking this particular question, what is your understanding? Can somebody explain what anybody understood about a subquery or a correlated subquery? Can someone unmute, please? Anybody having answer? Anybody want to talk about what is a subquery or correlated subquery? Anybody understood
Hey, hi.
what is a subquery?
Hello. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Srini. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Srini, go ahead. You are audible, Srini.
Hello. Can you hear me, Raghav? Hello.
Yes. I'm. I'm able to hear. Srini, go ahead. Uh, can somebody unmute Srini or anybody want to answer in the class? You should speak up. You should speak up. Don't write. I would encourage go ahead and speak up. If am I audible? If I am, feel free to unspeak. Unable to hear you. I'm unable to hear you. Am I audible? Name? is audible now. Okay, feel free to unmute and speak, Srini.
Hey, hi, Raghav, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm able to.
Yeah, hey, hi. So like yesterday we worked on this assignment which we got, and
Uh-huh.
in that we are able to solve many like all the queries, but
Uh-huh.
got stuck with queries like where we can use some queries like on the basis of top n number of characters or top n
Mm.
records or
Mm-hmm.
top or bottom records kind of
Mm-hmm.
information. Like I think it
Mm-hmm.
was an intermediate or advanced level of querying, if I'm not
Correct.
wrong.
Correct.
So like I tried working on that, like as I already worked on this SQL, so I was able
Mm-hmm.
to solve that. And
Mm-hmm.
with the one query, I got stuck and I am unable to resolve that. I thought of googling it and working on that, but I need
Mm-hmm.
your help there in
What was
writing
the
that
question?
query. So that was this one, like how can we count the number of character occurrences in a string? Like suppose
How can
if
you?
there is
Yeah, that is an interview question to remember, Srini. It is the logic is
yeah,
this way. Let me tell you the.
I the reason to ask you is like I have faced that question in my interview time with the
Correct.
different organizations. Like they 2 to 3 organizations ask me on this thing. Like not two,
Exactly same
two.
question will come or two variants will come. The variant will come as count the number of peas in apple. That will be an interview question. Okay.
Yes,
Count the
yes.
number of uh, so
Number of
say for an example, syllable, right? Syllabus, LL is repeated, session, SS is repeated, S is repeated so many times in a word called a session. Count number of S in word session, right?
hmm,
How do you do that? The logic is count the number of total alphabets available in that particular thing. Okay, say for an example, total number of alphabet available in session as a keyword that is highlighted in my screen right now. How many characters are there in the session? SESSIONS. Total 4 plus 4, 8. Is that understanding correct? Now, if you remove all the SS in this entire string, how many characters left? If you remove out all the SS from this particular string, how many characters will be left? Only E, I, O, N. Only 4 characters will be left. Total string length is 8. If I remove S from my string, then 4. So how many S's are there in my string? 8 minus 4 equals to 4. That would be the logic to compute uh, how many duplicate patterns are available within that particular string. Did it answer, Srini? How do you do that? Very easy. I can show you the example. Say for an example, new query. Say for an example, the word, how do you declare a variable in SQL? You would use a keyword called as declare @string varchar, because it is a string type of variable that I want to play with. I'm only taking 20 alphabets. Set string variable equals to apple or session, SESSION. Okay. What is my logic? I want to know how many S's are there in my query or sessions. What would I do? I would say select. There is a SQL function. I didn't start about the function, but the question is there. I will anyways talk about it. How do I know the total length of a string? I would say select length of the total string. len is the function that can give you the total length of a string. Okay. Now if I do that, if you see I highlight this 3 and execute, it will tell me the total length of the string is 8. Okay. What I want to also say, I want to say if I do something and then I count, there is a function available known as replace. I will show you how does that particular thing work. The function replace works this way. Replace, and if I say replace, what do you want to replace? I want to replace in the string, I want to replace in the string, look for S, replace with blank. What I want to do, I want to remove all the SS from the string. So the replace is a function available in SQL Server that allows you to look for a value in the string. First parameter is in the string, look for a value and replace with blank. Okay, I will do that. Let's see what happened. Can you see? If I replace s from the string, only eion is left. Understood? If I then apply a length function on the string, what would happen? It will say only length of eion is 4. Okay, let's see. So total string length is 8. After replacing s from my string is 4. So how many s's are there in my string? Select length of string minus length of this is the length of the variable value. So length is 4. Now is it clear? So how many p's are there in the apple? How do you do that? APPLE, look for p's, look for p. Will it work? Let's see how many p's are there in the apple. 2 p's are there in the apple. Is that understanding correct now? So this is how you should compute the logic. Did you get the answer now? Srini, unmute and speak. Okay. I will explain the subquery and correlated subquery around 7:20. Vishnu. Now let's talk about Srini. I'm unable to unmute myself. Srini was unable to hear you. Yes, you're audible now. Muted. That was crystal clear. Okay. What is the next question? Anybody? In nth highest salary without using top and limit. That's interesting part. I will talk about it, and do remember it is an interview question again. Okay. Without writing a top keyword, without using a limit keyword, can you still find out? Yes, we can find out, but I will answer how can you find out after teaching correlated subquery. You can still do it without using the top keyword and limit keyword. Limit in MySQL and Postgre, top in SQL Server. You can use max min function to identify what is there within that max. Using a subquery, you can attempt up to a certain extent, but if you have to actually rank them and find the nth highest, then you have to use the correlated subquery, find out and sort them out, apply a order rank function for every row item, and then find out what rank it matches and take it out. That is another way of solving, but I will not complicate. I will answer this particular question. Can somebody note this particular question and ask me in the session number 8? Because let me see my course objective. Just a minute, okay? I'm just trying to. Okay. Can you now see the course objective here? These are all our total session that we are going to cover. We have at least 42 session coming up. So that is where I say that you may be curious whether I'm skipping contents and stuff. Do remember, I'm going to cover each and every aspect of SQL that you need to know. Like I have given you questions around constraint that is going to come in the session number 13, right? Primary key, define a primary key, define a check constraint, define a not null constraint, define people cannot enter some value. It is going to be covered in 13, but that doesn't entitle me not to ask it now, right? If you have attempted, you must have studied something and it will be easy for you, right? I must have asked about the primary key, constraints, unique key, indexes, joins in between, views in between, right? So everything is listed, everything you will study one by one, right? Only thing is you have to have patience. Questions I'm asking not very limited to that specific, because you have to cover, you have a day to work on that particular thing, right? So ideally speaking, whenever you have time, go ahead and study more. That is the objective. Okay. Now, feel free to ask question, because the feedback form I was looking at, and I wanted to address a few things. Okay. Let me address that particular thing, and in that way, you will be also sure saying that how the structure will be. Now in the day one, we set up a benchmark or the rule saying we are going to only go for the 40 minutes session and 20 minutes question and answer. That rule still applies. Only thing is I'm not going to go for the questioning at the last 20 minutes. Maybe I will go for the questioning every 15 minutes for 5 minutes. In that way, you will get to ask me question every 15-minute alternate windows, right? So first 15 minute will go for a question topic, and then 5 minute will go for question answer. Again, 15-minute go for session, 5 minute ask question, right? You will get alternate window to split your question and do not no need to wait till the end. That is one of the thing that I want to call out. Also, I want to talk about a few aspects when I was going through the feedback form just to get some clarity. Do remember, students, you might feel like the session is at basic level depending upon your understanding. You may be feeling like the session is at intermediate level or advanced level depending upon your understanding. Do remember, when you land your job, you are going to do what I'm teaching you. It doesn't matter. You might encounter a lot of different things per day, right? Whatever I'm teaching you, if you are attentive to that, you will be able to solve your day-to-day job up to 5 years experience. Okay, I don't know how much experience you each of you are carrying, but trust me, if you are thorough in the session and you are joining as a database developer or you are joining as a data engineer, you should be able to query efficiently up to 0 to 8 years. Okay, that chart loud and clear. Yeah. Okay, so if you feel like the session is basic, do remember, be it basic, be happy with that, because whatever you are learning, that you are going to work, nothing more. Okay, I'm going to cover every aspect of your day in day out work, and you will be actually able to solve maybe 7 years. Why would I say up to 5 years? You will be able to solve 7 years up to SQL querying and capability problem statement, right? So basic is not what you should be worried about. You should be worried about, are you studying or get understanding the concept right or not? Okay. Another point that I have also observed in many students, from the session 1 till the session 5, I see the comfort level of students understanding decreased. Session 1 started with a comfort level of 5, then somebody rated at 4, then 3, then 2, then somebody said that I didn't understand. Okay, it is okay not to understand. It is absolutely fine not to be able to understand. If you are not from the technical background, you might take your own speed. It is absolutely fine with that. What you should attempt, do remember, it is only 1 hour, right? And there are a pool of student, they are sitting in the meeting room, right? Question here is, I have to go by the session. I have to go and teach you what exactly needed to be taught in the class, right? I will give you the example. What you should do, say for an example, in 15 minutes, you are not able to understand that particular thing. You can ask me the question. I will try to repeat that particular statement, right? Now, a few of your student also must have understood that particular thing. The approach would be, in the 15 minutes, I will try to understand at least what sir is saying. Let me actually hear it out. Let me try and grasp as much as possible. If at all I'm not getting it, after the session, I will go through the recording once. After the session, I will talk to the friends who are there inside the class to get some perspective. I got up to this much, but after that, I didn't get it. Let me still ask a question. If still I did not get it, I will ask a question next day. In that would be your approach to learning, right? You can always feel free to do Googling also. In case you want to learn more, always Google or Bing is always there at your hand, right? Go and search for it, right? That this particular topic was covered. This is the question asked. Do I find an answer? If I find an answer, does it solve the particular problem that was asked in the question bank, right? If it is not, then how do I solve it, right? If you couldn't, come ahead and ask about the question without keeping it there, uh, saying that I don't understand. Okay. Now, uh, I got a feedback from majority of the students saying subquery was a challenge for them, and you understood today's class somewhat. Somewhat is a very negative word, because somewhat means you are actually saying that either I didn't get at all or I got something. Then when you are saying that somewhat, your question should come out during the last 20 minutes, right? I didn't get a question where I see that you couldn't understand at all. Um I'm just summarizing, and then maybe we'll get started with the session and I will try to revise the content more. I'm just trying to see through what people insert date. If you have understood very loud and clear, somebody has given ratings at 5 labels. Session 5 folks were absent. I would say that you have the privilege of writing them. Okay, fine. Now coming back. Now, now let me go back to the questions to see if any new questions has come up. Uday, I will talk about this particular question without writing top and limit. I don't want to confuse, right? This particular batch consists of a lot of different mix of students. Some are computers, some are not. So I will not confuse unless and until I actually start talking about those approaches. But at least were you able to solve by using the top keyword, by shorting them, and then getting the third or fourth and fifth highest? If not, we'll try to do it today. Okay. I have one quick asking. Who is that? It is Pradeep Yadav. Can somebody unmute Pradeep, please? Can someone unmute Pradeep? Can someone pass? Yeah, Pradeep, go ahead. Ask the question, please.
Yes, sir. Basically, this persons is not technical. This is the
Sorry.
main problem. These persons are majority of the persons are not technical in the group SDs too. So clarity is missing. Some persons. This is the main problem.
Can you come again? Majority of the person are from
Non-technical.
non-technical. Does it matter whether it is non-technical or technical? Because you are studying commands, right?
Yes.
What is the problem, Pradeep? Speak up. In that way, I may be able to help you. Is the speed high? Are
Yeah.
you getting the recording? Is the speed high? It is going high speed. I can control that. That can be controlled. Like I
No,
said, I go with the flow because I'm not hearing any responses. So I just try to complete my session that way. I give you
yeah.
enough example, but do you get the recording? Do you go through the recording to understand? Are you still not able to
Yes.
understand the recording?
Yes. Understanding. Understand. Hello.
Okay. And
So one
what is
question.
the
We are trying in whiteboard session. Is
Mhm.
more comfortable.
It is command actually,
Yeah.
Pradeep. So to be very specific, let me give you some analogy, okay? That might help you. I want to talk about a few aspects that will actually ease out a lot of thing that is running in your mind, students. Okay. One thing,
Yeah.
whether I uh, heard that it is going at a faster pace, we are not able to get it. Okay. You are, like I said, not able to get it is absolutely fine, because if you are not from the technical background, you will feel this glitch, right? Think about this, Pradeep. You join after this particular session, you are able to join an IT company. Okay. I'm just giving you an analogy. Okay. You are able to join an IT company. Tomorrow you got a job, you joined the IT company. There is a meeting happening inside the meeting room. Okay. People are going to talk with their own pace. Is that understanding correct? They will not
Yes.
stop for you to understand. There are 13, 14 people in the meeting room. Talks will happen very normal. Requirement gathering will happen very normal. Whether you get it, whether you don't get it, it is whose responsibility to ask question when you don't get it. Is it your manager going to ask, Pradeep, did you understand? Or your subordinate will say, Pradeep, did you understand? Or it is your responsibility to ask, sir, I did not get it. Can you repeat? Whose responsibility it is?
Is my responsibility.
Whose responsibility it is to say in the class that I did not get it. Because once you come out of the meeting room, everybody will assume that if you did not ask a question, that means you understand. Is that understanding correct? Keep a
Yeah.
habit. Students, do a habit. If you are into the job, you must be doing it in your job, right? You are going into the meeting room. If you understand what people will think, shall I ask a question, shall I not a question, people might think it is a dumb question, what this guy is asking, right? It is a very basic question. It doesn't matter. Question is a question. Okay. If you have joined a company, it is a reputed company, non-reputed company, it doesn't matter. If you are there in a meeting, it is your responsibility to understand what the meeting content is, what the meeting agenda is, and come out of the meeting room understanding every aspect of it. And you should know what your role is, right? When you go into the meeting room, you are going with understanding something. When you come out, you are very clear what you need to do, right? If you are not coming out without understanding, that means that meeting is unsuccessful, correct? And you should communicate, understood up to certain extent, but I couldn't understand what next, right? Uday, sorry, it is Pradeep. I given a diplomatic answer, but the answer is giving you an field. Do not feel you are here to go and join an IT company. Is that understanding correct, Pradeep? You want to join
Yes.
an IT company. It doesn't matter what background you are carrying. Non-tech, tech, doesn't matter. Did you install SQL Server on your machine?
Yes.
You
Yes,
have.
Rahul.
When I am doing the exercise, are you able to look at my examples on the screen?
Yes. I work out in every day.
You
I am
work
in
it out.
technical. I am in
Yeah,
ACE.
I understood, Pradeep. I understand. I'm trying to say the approach is whenever I'm trying to say, I will be doing it for all the 13 folks, right? It is your responsibility to key in the question saying, sir, I did not understand. Repeat one more time. Repeating might help, but slow down the content because you have the audio recordings available. You can always play back to understand. You will
Okay.
do the same exercise by working on them. Even if you couldn't do it, you have the next day to ask the question again. Sir, I didn't understand. Please explain one more time, right? Please follow this particular
So,
pattern and it will definitely help. And it will not help here, but every other session and also your corporate life. When you join the company, you should do the same thing. Never ever shy away asking question. Okay. Hope this particular thing answered. Like I said, I will try to slow down a bit. I will try to repeat myself up 2 or 3 times rather than only one time. And every 15 minutes, anyways, we will have that particular break. Okay. Uh,
okay.
Now, Pradeep has a question also. You have a question. In Oracle, other replace only correct. Replace only correct. Why are you going into the Oracle, Pradeep? Are you into the Oracle class right
Yeah,
now?
before time I'm practicing in Oracle.
Well,
Some
I wanted to be very, very
specific.
specific. Yeah. Student, if you want to practice something in very different flavor, feel free to do it. Be very specific what you are studying because in this entire SQL exercise, we are going to learn two products. One is Postgre, one is SQL Server. You can feel free to download MySQL, do it. You feel free to download Oracle, do it, right? But I'm not going to cover all the 13, 14 database products available.
Yeah, yeah.
Majority of the language will be same, but here and there 2 3 functions will be there. You can google it out and find an answer. Okay, so
Yeah,
be very
my thing
specific.
is
Yeah,
compared to all SQLs, in SQL service,
the
commanding
easiest one.
some different.
Command is
Like
different.
yeah, command is same. Like the owner name is select star. Owner name is a closed brackets. These things are not there in other databases. I mean,
Which
first
other
in it.
databases you are trying to talk about?
Yeah, normally we are saying select star now.
Uh-huh.
Is a select top one p dot pet name is there.
Uh-huh.
Brackets in brackets.
Uh-huh.
Is
Uh-huh.
my problem.
In other programming language like MySQL and other, then the top comes with a bracket. Here top one is open. In MySQL and Postgre, the top bracket one comes in that way, right? Or over there, you will say select star from that limit one, you will say, correct?
Yes. Yeah, limit
Yeah.
10.
So my approach is, Pradeep, when you are studying a programming language, say for an example, there are thousands of programming language available in the world, correct? There are C, C++, Java, PHP, Python, Perl, Golang, blah, 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 R, hundreds of programming language available in the world. And they have the same construct, okay? They have the variable declaration, they have the assignment operators, they have the comparison operators, they have the if-else conditioning, they have the loops, they have the trees, they have the list, they have the stacks and everything. But every programming language is different from each other by the syntaxes. Do you understand that?
Yeah, syntax content.
That essentially mean if you are going to join an organization, you know why we chose two database product for your study? Ideally, this will help you understanding the flavors. I would have chosen Oracle. Oracle is actually complex in nature, and typical data engineering aspect, SQL Server is cloud. SQL is the Microsoft product. Microsoft
Yeah.
has its native cloud known as Azure, right?
Mhm.
Typically, in the real data engineering world, Azure or AWS supports a lot of SQL Server or SQL related technology like SQL Server, MySQL, or Postgre in the open source world. So that is where we chose one of the native cloud related technology. I would have chosen Oracle, but then Oracle syntaxes will be absolutely different when you go to the PL SQL part, right? Not the SQL part, because like I explained, SQL is owned by ANSI, American National Standards Institute. Whatever
Yeah, I
command
know.
we are going to study in SQL is same. Functions will vary. Bit and minutely, some function structure will vary, right? Then, like you said, rightly identified, some will say top one, some will say top bracket one, some will say limit one, right?
Yes.
But majority of the function will work that way. Select command works the same way, join queries work the same way, so syntaxes are absolutely same, right? So you can
Yes.
learn, practice in different, but I would encourage only practice during SQL Server, and do not get yourself confused with Oracle or anything. And if you have the
Yeah.
privilege of installing Oracle, do it yourself. But if those kind of question come, that confuses other, right? So that would
Yeah.
be the
Some.
recommendation. And Pradeep,
Thank
like I said, I will try to slow down my pace, points taken, and will try to repeat. And do not keep that particular thing in mind. I am from non-technical background. I'm not able to understand. That is not the question. You are not
No,
able to
my
understand.
question is not that. It's some guys is there total 30 members.
Huh.
Is 13 to 12 members is the non-technical.
That is fine. That is absolutely fine. This answer is not for you actually, Pradeep. It is for all the people who have the non-technical background. The answer is for them. If you are coming from the non-technical, you are studying the syntaxes only, isn't it? By far, we have studied this insert command. What is there in this particular command? Insert into table name values. Uh,
Values.
is it anything else would have different? You are just studying a command that helps you insert some data into the table. And how do you write the insert command? There are some forms, and every form we have seen through the examples and stuff, right? This is the form
Yeah.
one where you are going to specify insert into table name, and you are not specifying the column names here, right? This is one form. This is another example where you are writing an insert command where you are specifying the column list. What is the advantage of specifying the column list? It doesn't matter. I can change the sequence, I can change the value. The value will be matched to the corresponding column. That is the benefit of that. If I write a column list, the Rambo will be matched to the second column in this pit name.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
So try to pay
Basically, I am
attention to the
working in last
syntaxes.
1 year company.
Yeah.
My best fear is interview facing SQL scenarios. I'm not cracked every time.
So that is what I'm trying to say. You will be prepared with all the interview question, because every session I'm giving you the interview question, what question will come, right? And you have been assigned with so many SQL question that you have already prepared yourself 200% for any cracking any SQL interviews.
Yeah. Yes.
If you are able to pay attention to the session and the examples I'm giving and the questions I'm asking, you are actually 200% prepared. So if after the 40th session, if you are going for interview, it shouldn't take you to crack the interview in one or two attempt. I would be very happy you crack it in a single attempt. If
Yeah.
not, then you will take one or two attempts to crack it. But be patient. It is just we are starting, and focus. That is very much needed. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Okay.
Pradeep. Thanks for your
Yeah. Thank
question
you.
and thanks for your concerns also. take out that
No,
particular
this is
fear
not
from
my
your mind that
concern.
I'm non-tech. Okay.
People concern, I think.
No,
I
thanks for asking that particular thing. For the non-technical folks, have faith in yourself. You can do it. SQL is one of the easiest programming language to go for. Okay, what you need to learn is session by session syntaxes. Once you know the syntax, practice is out. That is the only way of learning. There is no other way to do it out. Even if I try to make you understand how to write that, unless until you write, you will not know how to do it. Okay. Now there is a question. Can you unmute me? It is Srinivas. Is it Srinivas? I don't able to read this. Can somebody unmute Srinivas? Srinivas Yadav? I'm not able to unmute you. Can somebody unmute Srinivas? It is okay. Today we will not talk much. Maybe I will just talk about the subquery before closing it out. But I want to hear you out.
Uh,
Yeah, Srinivas, go ahead.
yeah, hi. I'm unmuted. Okay. I have a question like related to the same assessment which we have yesterday. Like we
Mm-hmm.
had this character index.
Mm-hmm.
So I was trying to resolve that for the like character index is used for the to find the position of the character within a
Position of
string,
a
right?
character, find fast. Fast
Yeah.
occurrence. Do remember, character
First
index is a
occurrence.
function. Fast occurrence of a string. So say for an example, how do you try it out? Okay. Do remember, student, I will show you one example. If you don't understand what to do, this is what you should do. Do remember, anyways, we are going to cover about the SQL function in next two session. On Saturday, Sunday, we'll focus more about this SQL functions at all. So what you should do, go to the programmability, go to the functions. There is by default defined function available. Go to the system function. Okay, if you want to know about the string function, open them out, and these are the by default string functions available in SQL Server. You can use any of them, and you want to learn about it, just like I was showing. Tell me the length of the string. Make the characters uppercase, lowercase, right? Your question was, I want to know what is the char index function does, right? So if you do, char index is here. Can you see char index here, right? So what char index does, char index, you have not asked the question. I have taken it from you. Just wait a minute. Because you have asked, I want to show it first
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
everyone
Okay. No
understands.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So in char index, somebody want to ask in Raghav's what is the fast occurrence of A in the string? There are two A's in the name, right? Where is the fast occurrence of the so character index? It looks for the index in the pattern. That is how it works. Okay. What is the character index? In SQL, the character index starts with 1. So the R is 1, then A is 2. What it is saying? The fast A is available at the index position of 2. Okay. If I say, where is the G available? It will say the index position of G is 3. Can you see that? Can you see? Index position of G is 3. Now ask your question, Srini.
Yeah, like here with the character index, we are finding the first occurrence, right? So
Correct.
if in case if I want to find the second occurrence of the same character A, for example, A is
Hmm,
at somewhere
hmm,
5.
hmm, hmm.
So which
You
function
don't
will
have direct
help me?
function to do that. You have to actually write a
Okay.
logic for that. What would you do? You tell me what would be your approach. Somebody say, tell me where is the second
And
occurrence of it.
so like usually if we like again I am not comparing it with the other DBs which we have like in other programming. With the
Hmm.
SQL like Oracle we have a substring index, right? So
Hmm.
do we have any similar function like that with
We
the
have
SQL
substring
server?
function available also.
Substring underscore index for the
No,
to
no,
find the nth
no, no,
occurrence of
no.
the
We don't
thing.
have that kind of thing. Can you see that here?
Okay.
Substring is there. Can you see that?
Yeah,
If
I
you
can,
want to
yeah.
find index, there is only one index available. There is a pattern index available. There is a character index available. Pattern index actually says tell you in character index you can look for a character. In pattern index you can look for a pattern, right? Wherever the pattern matches something. So you can use pattern index. But your question has a merit. Let's see how do you answer that, right? I want to look for a pattern called a GH. Okay, where is the first occurrence of GH is there in the pattern index? GH is not there, but GH percentile is there, maybe. or percentage GH is there.
Yes. Okay.
Can you see? Right? Exact GH is not there, but somewhere before, somewhere after GH is available in the position 3. Is that understanding correct? 1, 2, 3. Here is the position where the G found. So it is finding the matching pattern. GH is available at the index position 3. Right? So you have only two
Yes.
ways of finding it out. Now tell me, if you want to find out in Raghav, where is the second occurrence of A? How do you approach the problem? Can you find out
Here
the
we
first
can.
occurrence of the A?
Yes, I think we can.
You can find out the first occurrence of A. Correct? When you do
Yeah,
this,
with
by default
character.
it is character index is giving you that fast occurrence. You know that fast occurrence of A is in the position number 2. Is that understanding correct? Position number 2,
Yes.
A is available in the first position, right? Can I do a substring on this? What I would do, if I do, say for an example, Tim, just understand, find out the second occurrence of A, where exactly the second occurrence of A, correct? How do I do that? Can I identify, select substring? Do you know there is a function available known as substring? In substring, what you can do, you will say substring, tell me in Raghav, say my start position of the extraction till the third position of extraction. I will show you example first so that you understand, and then I will proceed further. Substring function helps you extracting from a start position till the next 3 position. Okay, that means that if I say start at 1 and extract 3 character, this particular substring function takes what? It accepts the first parameter as string, then the position to start from, and then the next 3, how many characters from that position you want to extract. The string is Raghav, but I have given him, you extract from the first character next 3 character. Can you see that? RAG is coming out. If I specify start at 2, start at 3 and take out the next 3. Is it possible? Yes, GHA. Start at 3, 3 position is first, second, and third, and next 3 position is this, right? Can you now, Srini, attempt a logic using this? If you apply logic, whenever you find the first occurrence, you extract that particular pattern from the string, but record it out. First occurrence is at 2, right? You know that. First occurrence is 2, right? I'm breaking my problem into two parts. I want to find the second occurrence of the string. Can I say, first I will find out where is my A is available. I found here. So I will extract out these 2 from my string. Okay. First time I found A at 2. I will write down A at 2. After that, what I would do, I will extract out first 2 character, because wherever till the point the A is available, I want to remove that. Now the remaining string where the A is available, is it as available at 3? Where is my second position is available now? 2 plus 3. Is that understanding correct?
Yes.
Right? So there is no straightforward function to identify positional matches. You have to write your own custom function to figure out the second occurrence and third occurrences and stuff. Clear about
Yeah.
that?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Any other question you have? Srini, how is the content length for you? How is your feedback about it? Are you learning? Is
Content.
it going? Yeah,
See, as per my point of view, it's perfect. Like for me, I am able to recollect the interview questions which I had, and I was unable to solve that time. So here with
correct.
your session, I am able to like recollect and able to answer all the interview questions which I have faced. So
Perfect.
it
So
is
that means
clear.
you
Like
have actually faced the
in the
interview.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I
You
missed.
have
Sorry.
faced the interview question that I have, or I'm actually talking about those interview
Yeah.
question
Correct.
during the session.
Correct.
Yeah.
So like
So that is
my feedback would be for this session, like just a bit slow, like for the new folks here with the team, in the meet,
yeah,
I mean in the classroom. So
yeah,
many of them are new folks, and see,
yeah.
you are
I
helping out with
understand that
the
particular thing.
session. You are helping out with the session perfectly, but somewhere we
Slow
are not able
points
to
need to be slow.
syntaxes which
Okay.
are there.
Uh,
You're giving us syntax perfectly, but people in our in class, they are not able to recollect the syntax again and again. So
okay,
if you
understood.
can
So essentially,
help us with
yeah,
the syntaxes for everything, like uh, as when you are giving this data types
Yeah,
or
I should actually
strings.
keep it in the chart window. That will also be there, right? It is a kind of, I can copy it out and paste it here in the chat window. In that way, you can practice at the same time without remembering things. But one thing, thanks for actually calling it out. I have actually read through the feedback session. Point taken. I will slow down my pace. Thing is, you still may not be able to understand at a session. You have the power of recording. You can always go back to the recording and play it out. Do remember, when you are there in the session, try to look at the example. You are not practicing at the same time, because it is, I'm just going on talking and talking and talking and talking. My recommendation, while you are there in the session, do not try to practice unless and until I say to practice. Okay, students, for all, when I am teaching, you just keep on looking on the screen. Don't do anything. Don't take notes. If I say take a note, I always say take this as a note. Only that point you should take a note. Other than that, only focus on the screen. After the session is over, again go through my recording. Whatever note you want to take it out, right? Then attempt the questions, right? When I'm saying these are the interview questions, take a note on them, right? That will definitely help. And Srini, thanks for calling out. I got that particular perspective by reading the thing. I will try to be slowing down in the topic, and that is where I'm actually not teaching at all. I'm just trying to set up the contest and try to answer a few things that is that I could in this particular session. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
okay. Thank you. And thank you.
And
And one more thing, just one thing. So please, like when you're writing this queries, right? Please zoom in for some more. As we see, content is very small, and we are unable to view the queries which you are writing correctly. For me,
oh, so
as
the screen,
I
what is the screen size at the center?
yeah, like a query window, zoom out,
No, I
zoom in
understand that.
for more.
I can do it. Is it better now? I'm doing it so that I know that this is the font that I should use.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah.
able to see it now? Are you able
Yes,
to see
please.
now?
I am able to see. I don't know about the people in the classroom. I'm sorry.
Are you able to see students in the class? Uh, Whether the syntax is okay, whether it is legible? Can somebody type in the chat window? Say that I am able to read. This is okay. Perfect, perfect sizing, or you want me to go big? This is better. Okay, so I remember this particular thing. Whenever I go for a syntax, I will actually go with this particular font sizing. Thank you for calling out, Srini.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, perfect. Now, can you unmute is done. Now duplicate records from employee detail without considering the primary key. We'll talk about it. Actually, this is another interview question. We'll do that. Do remember, student, this duplicate data deletion is a absolute 10 on 10 interview question. Okay, you have to practice it and remember how to delete duplicate data without the primary key. It doesn't matter whether you have a primary key or not. Do remember, duplicate data is a situation where both the records look alike. That is what a duplicate data means. Okay, let us attempt the problem. Okay, let us see whether we can actually delete duplicate data from a table. And it is an interview question, so I'm going to give you an example that will help you out. So I will create a create table. I will not teach what a temp table is, but do remember there is a table available known as a temp table. Okay, I will give a name anything and put a hash signature before that. That becomes a temporary table that will never be created within my database. We'll see that, right? By far, whatever table we have created, it is by default physical table. Can you see that whenever I say create table name, it creates it, right? I will say it is a test table, and I will give three record. I will say ID, I will say int, I will say name or fname, first name, I will say varchar, I will say 2030, and then I will say last name. These are the only three fields available in a table. This is how you create a table. You will say create table name, column name, data type, then you will say column name data type, and then comma as number of column you want to say, column name data types, column name data type size. For some column you are not going to talk about the sizing, some for some you will be doing it. We'll talk about the data type so that you will understand more about it. And then if I create this particular table, let's see, I am choosing master of the database. That is first thing I'm doing mistake. I will do this again. Okay, it is saying the this particular table is test is available in the database. Okay, but let me go and refresh my table. You will not see the test table getting created here. Can you see anything called as test? Oh yeah, there is a test, but it is a physical table. Let me drop it out. Okay, can you see now? Even if I will create it, it will say that there is already a object, there already exists an object called as test in the database. I don't have anything called as test here, right? Do remember, when you put a hash signature in front of a table, by default it is the temp table. We'll study about the temp table in the session 17 or 18. Hold on to the thought. For the example sake of delete duplicate, I'm just giving an awareness that there is something called as temp table. When you put a hash signature in front of the table, by default it gets created within the test database tempdb. There is something called as tempdb. Tempdb is the scratchpad database, and here the tables that gets created is the tempdb. Okay, there is nothing, you can't see it, but by default when you create the when you create the table, it will be created within the tempdb. So when you say hash, by default it selects the tempdb as the database, and by default it creates over there. Okay, for the example sake, I want to see whether the table is actually existing. Let me see, select star from hash test. Okay, by default when you put a hash signature, it is a tempdb. Temp table gets created within the tempdb. Okay, there is no record. Let us insert two records. Insert into, how do I insert into test values. What values I want to insert? Values are 1 comma first name abcd, last name efgh. Okay, these are the name I want to insert. Let's insert duplicate data. What do you mean by duplicate? Duplicate means data row look all alike. Okay, I will say 2, I would say Rahul, I would say Dravid. Okay, now let us insert this 4 record into the table. After inserting the record, I want to verify, select. Can I see there are 4 record inserted into the table, but tell me which are the duplicate record. The record where all the data rows are equal are known as duplicate record. Is that understanding correct? Duplicate means what? Every record set is matching. First question, duplicate record from employee without considering the primary key, right? Do remember, if you have a key available, primary key will understand the rule. I will not go into the primary key now, but do remember, if you have a constraint applied, you cannot insert the duplicate duplicate record. Do you get it? Because your primary key will restrict duplicate duplicate data into the table. We'll talk about the primary key during the primary key session, but do remember, if you, whoever has asked this particular question, do remember, you cannot have duplicate data in a table where a primary key is there. You know why? Because primary key comes with only two rule. The column that you are choosing for the primary key cannot contain duplicate data. It has to be, you have inserted 111 into the ID column, assuming ID is the primary key. The first rule of primary key says you cannot insert duplicate data. That means if you have tried inserting the second row as 1, then it would have thrown error, right? A table that contains a primary key cannot contain the duplicate data. Do you understand that particular perspective now? So typically the duplicate data deletion thing happen where there is no primary key. Okay, clear about that? Now going back to your question, I want to delete, my question's perspective is delete duplicate record from the table without deleting the actual, at least leave behind one record, right? Did anybody attempted this question and figure out and answer the same? Anybody, if you have done it, would you like to post your question? I want to see. This is a very big interview question actually, team. If you solve it, I would recommend that please remember this particular question. It is a 10 on 10 question. Majority of the interview will go. We will. Srini, you want to say something?
No, like I was saying, like I tried to find out the duplicate records, like number of duplicate records in this, but I didn't get a chance to on this to remove the duplicates. So
Okay.
even I had this to ask, but as you are continuing,
Okay. You can go on mute if you're not speaking. Yeah. Anybody in the class did attempt this particular problem? Delete a duplicate record, leaving behind one. No. Actually, we should have actually waited for this question. I would not confuse. I will show you what is the duplicate. The answer to this particular problem is with the group by. First, I need to know how do I know it is a duplicate first, right? By seeing it seems duplicate, but how do I write a query to first identify it as a duplicate, right? So there is an option, easy option available in SQL to know it is a duplicate. So there is a clause available in select that is known as group by clause. I haven't started with the group by, but I will show you what the group by does. Okay, select star from hash name. Okay, you want to know a duplicate on certain column. So I will say select star from group by, select star from hash name, group by all the column name on which I want to group them up. I want to group them up on ID, first name and last name. I will not talk about that is where I think the question is there. Well, just try to see it. Anyways, we'll study about the group by on Saturday, Sunday session. So select star from hash name, group by ID, first name and last name. If I group them up, then I know that what is the frequency. I can say count of one. Tell me. It is a complex one. Don't bother if you don't understand. Anyways, group by will be coming. I will say count of having count of ID as one. Let's see whether it works or not. Let's see. Invalid object hash temp. Select count. Select star from this.
It's actually test.
Or temp. Yeah. Sorry about that. Test. Thanks for pointing out. Yeah. Can you see? I have written a query that has group my all the data. What I'm saying, you group all these records wherever, depending upon my first name, ID, first name, and last name. When you group all these three become one group. Is that understanding correct? I have grouped them and it is telling me that there exist. I'm saying, first let's see what is it is giving. Can you see? If I only say select star, comma count of one from hash test, group by this particular data set, it is giving me two groups of data. One group saying three times this particular data record is repeated. This group is repeated once. Any group that is repeated more than one is a duplicate record. Can I assume that? In this particular group, this record is only unique record repeated once versus this particular data record repeated thrice. Is it a duplicate? Can I assume with that particular thing? If I can find the frequency of the record in a particular manner, then I can identify whether this record is a duplicate or not, right? Now the question is, how do I delete the duplicate record, leaving behind one? Deleting the duplicate record is pretty straightforward, correct? If I can identify the delete record, I can always do that. How do I do that? Same query I will write, delete from hash test. Can I just copy paste the same query? If I can identify, I can identify which is my duplicate record. I can identify this record is the duplicate record. Can I now do that? Delete from and then apply this particular query directly. Can I say delete from test? Where I would say where ID in and then the select query that I have prepared earlier. Can I do that? The select query that I have written to identify, tell me the can I do this particular thing? Can I delete a record by selecting data from other part? I can do that, right? So essentially, let us first see. I want to know, tell me the IDs. I would say this way. It is going to be delete from hash temp. I would say inner join. Because you have asked the question, I'm answering. If you don't understand, don't bother. You will anyways understand during the join session. Test inner join this particular part. I will give a name to this particular query as AB on delete from hash temp, delete from hash temp, hash test. I will write from, it is a complex part, from hash test t inner join this particular subquery on t dot id equals to ab dot id. Yeah. Delete from test t object, inner join this particular query object. Let's see whether I can do that. Group incorrect 6 having count. Okay, sorry. No column name was specified. Yes, frequency. Because it is a subquery, you have to provide the frequency. Okay. Now let's see. Yeah, 3 rows affected. So this particular query could delete the record from the table. Select star from test. All the records are deleted. Now I could use this particular method of writing. I will give this particular example. This is the part of the problem, but the interview question will come in a different way. Are you able to see my responses? I don't know. How do I send it? Send privately, send to all, send to all. Are you getting this particular thing? You keep it handy. This is the part of the problem that will actually help you identifying the duplicate and deleting the duplicate record. But if you have to delete duplicate record but leave behind one record in the table, okay, then you have to write another way of dealing the thing. There are multiple ways to deal with the thing, but the easiest way to look for the data is this way. Okay, you can keep this particular thing also handy. Okay, say for an example, I will insert the same 3 record again here, execute the 3 record again back in the table, select star from test. All the 3 duplicate records are there. Now can I say I want to leave behind one record? I will declare a variable called as declare or variable. I will say declare I want to leave behind one row, so I will say declare or I will say declare the row id. I will say declare row id int, and I will set the value of the row id to 1. You can actually remember this particular answers also. Do remember, this is an interview question. It is a 10 on 10. That means majority of the interview you will go, you might find this particular question directly asked. Okay. Okay. So what you would say, set row count 1. I will talk about what does row count means. Set row count equal to 1. Okay. And then you would say delete from the table where you want to delete the duplicate record. Delete from hash test where id equals @row id. Okay. And then I will say and then I will say, let's try with this. Does it work? Set row count 0. One row affected. Because I have said that only delete one record, so it is deleting one record. I can you see now from my duplicate dataset one record is gone. Okay. I want to say in a reverse direction, delete. This is another approach. I want to delete. Till you find the data, you go ahead and delete it. Okay. So what you can do is, there is another approach. I'm just trying to figure out. Let's see. Can I use this particular syntax? I think I can say delete top. Let me see. Delete top 2 from hash test. If I can do that, I can also say that what to delete. This is a form that is available, and yes, I can do that. So essentially, let's see whether I am able to delete the 2 record or not. Yes, 2 record I could delete. Now let me reinsert the record set. Okay, I will insert the record set into the table. So my duplicate records are back in. Now can I say, now I want to do one exercise. What I would say, delete top. Here I will say count number of record. So I want to know how many records are duplicated, correct? I have multiple option actually I was looking for, but one thing, let me do another exercise. I'm just looking for one help interview question document. I have the example handy, so I'm just trying to pick out that particular example. There are multiple approaches, so I have a looping approach known as common table expression approach. I can loop through, I will leave behind one record. That is possible, right? I can do a join and delete. That is also possible. I can use row number and delete. That is possible. I'm trying to figure out the easiest way out. So what I can do is, uh, this is an example record. I will take it, and this example helps actually. Okay. And do not get confused. Again, it is using a temporary table kind of construct known as common table expression. So I copied this particular structure for your nomenclature. Anything that starts with city is known as a common table expression. Again, we'll study about what a common table expression is. I will just change the query to ID, first name, last name, ID, first name, last name, and this is the pattern that is available, first name, last name, and then I will give a row number. I will show you what this particular thing is. Row number over row number row number over partition by the first name and last name, the same partition by these three, partition by these three, order by these three, done, from hash test. Okay, done. Let's first run this particular query. Last name, I don't need to write that. Let's, here also I have put as comma around. Let us execute this particular query. Do remember there is a function available in SQL Server that puts a row number to that particular data set. Can you see here? There are row numbers given to 1, 2, 3, and then there is a row number given to 1. Here, wherever there are duplicate record, can you see that my record set is duplicating, and then I'm able to give them record number as 1, 2, 3. This is a unique set of data, so I got again. It is not a duplicate, so I am getting a row number as 1, right? If you have duplicate record, I can assign the rank function. Either is a function known as row number. This is a complex one. I will try to explain it in a different session altogether, because row number, dense rank are set operator and set function that is there in our session. You will see that particular topic getting covered to you during. So don't get rank function, set operator. Where is our set operators? Set operators. On the session 10, we'll talk about these things that is coming ahead. But someone asked, so I'm just trying to answer, saying that how do you delete? So what I can do, I can define a common table expression with one of the query that will give me the rank of each of the row. So if I can identify that these are my rank of the rows, these row set are duplicating over each other, right? But this is unique record. Wherever the row is unique, I know my row number will be 1. If I delete everything other than the row number 1, that means I will delete the duplicate record, leaving behind one record. Is that understanding correct? If some way I can assign a row number where I will say wherever the group is duplicating, you give them a sequencing order 1, 2, 3, correct? But where the group is not duplicating, you just give them the row sequence as 1, correct? If some way I can identify, and then I will just retain those record where it is value is 1, but any value other than 1, those are the duplicate record. Does it solve my problem? That duplicate, delete the duplicate record leaving behind 1. So this particular method of solving the problem will actually help you deleting the record, leaving behind one true record. Okay, can you see I deleted the record? I want to see what is left in the table. Let's see, select star from hash test. It is a complex one. I will explain. Hold on to the question. You will understand more during the common table expression and all this thing. Can you see ABCD duplicate record are gone, and the Rahul Dravid was only unique record that is still there. So please keep this particular form of deleting the duplicate record handy, and if possible mug up. I would say mug up, because this is an interview question. You will be able to do it. Where is the chart? Where do I write? Here, Control V and send to all. Please copy this particular thing from the chart window and keep it handy. Okay, I will send it as an attachment as well for the querying solving purpose. Now let's go back. Can you please explain subquery? I will explain the subquery one more time. I'm unable to mute, unable to hear you. You are unaudible or muted. Top limit, we'll talk about it. When Oracle replace duplicate record. Is putting at the rate before str necessary while declaration of a variable? Yes, the variable means if in SQL Server, if you want to declare a variable, you have to say at the rate. At the rate is the way to declare the variable name. If you do not declare put at the rate, that is not an variable. Okay. Just like printf scanf, is there a code for inputting and outputting taking in SQL? Do remember, you are asking a very right question, but do remember, in input in a programming language is meant for what? Taking the data and reading it and then processing on it. In SQL Server, there is no interface. Is that understanding correct? Inserting into the table or reading from the table. There are two operations that you want to do, right? So if you want to insert into the table, you have the command known as insert into table name values. If you want to read from the table, then you will do the select. But then there is a console operator available known as print. Okay. If you say print, hello, my name is Apple. Okay. If I do that, you have a print command available that sends the data to the console. It is a SQL console where you can actually print this particular data. It is not giving you as a select option. You can do the same thing, right? You can say select a string. You can say select hello, my name is Apple. You can do that, right? If you say select versus a print, let us understand what happens, the difference. This result is coming from select query, select result. I will say select result. Okay. Can you see if I do that? There are two windows involved. Can you see the header is coming as select result and hello, my name is Apple. Are you able to see that here in the result set? That means the select result is coming as a record versus the print message is going into the messages grid. Can you see there is a result grid, there is a message grid. If you write print statement, that print statement go to the messages grid. That is what you can do. But if your question is printf scanf, in SQL we don't have anything around the printf and scanf. In SQL, nobody can talk to the console even. Okay. If you want to talk something to print for your debugging purposes, print is the only message that you should leverage. Okay, for the debugging purposes. Hope that gives you the clarity. Just like there are slow, they just need to follow sincerely, else they cannot get it. It is just like it it is just like they are slow and they just need to follow sincerely, else they cannot get it. Okay. Yeah, that I believe it is related to how the non-IT. Yes, perfect size. Yes, select employee ID that I have already. Yeah, somebody has written this particular question query, right? Employee ID from employee name. Okay, greater than one. There is another question. Any question here? What is greater than work? Will that work? Greater than work means what? Yeah, we did no. We did delete anything greater than one here. If you see the last part, we are deleting any value greater than one. I hope that it is related to that. Yes, that's resolved. Okay, fine. I hope that today's session I didn't talk much. Now somebody has asked to understand the subquery, right? Let me go back to the subquery again. Okay. Do remember what did I say about a subquery? Subquery is a query within a query. Is that understanding query correct? Subquery is a query within query. I have a pets table. Did you were you able to create the pet table and the pet owner table? Do you have that particular script? Did I give or not? I don't remember. So let us verify. So there is a pet table. Select star from databases. I will go to the pets table. This is the pet table. Okay. There are pet ID, pet name, kind, gender, and age available. There is a owner ID column available. Okay. There is a table known as pet owner. And in the pet owner table, what is available? The owner ID, owner name, surname, and this. My question, I'm just asking a question to myself. My question is, tell me all the pets owned by Debbie. I want to know what are the pet owned by owner Debbie. That is what my question is. How do I know that? So what I would do, I want to know what are the pets owned by Debbie. So my intent is I will ask a question, select star from pets for sure. Okay. I will ask a question, select star from pets for sure. Now, when I am asking, tell me all the pets, but I want to know owned by Debbie. How do I know who is what is owned by Debbie? In the pet table, do you remember there is a owner ID column? Is that understanding correct? There is a owner ID. First, I need to understand what is the owner ID of Debbie. Is that correct? So I would say where owner ID where owner ID in where owner ID in I will say where the owner ID in what I will try to identify select I select again in the pet owners table the column names are owner ID. I want to try to select the owner ID from pet owner table from pet owners table where where owner name like I have a pattern, right? I can go for a pattern search like where owner name like Debbie, DEB percentage. Alright. So can I see what are the owner ID for Debbie? Oh, there are so many owners available. So let me figure out who is Debbie then. I have to be very, very specific. So when I say DB percentage, there are Debbie, Deborah, Debra, everything matches, right? So I will say DEBB. Okay, there exists only, or I will just give the exact name rather than like match. I will give the exact name that I'm looking out for, and I will rather go for a equals to match in order to avoid any complication. So I would say, tell me all the tell me the owner ID where the owner name is Debbie. Are are you all clear about this particular part at least? I'm trying to figure out the owner ID whose owner name is Debbie. It is straightforward, right? Select the pet owner, select from owner ID from the pet owner where the owner name is Debbie. This is straightforward, right? I got my owner ID whose name is Debbie. Now I am passing this as an variable to the outer query. What I'm trying to say, select star from the pets. You select all the value from the pets where the owner ID in whatever result is written by this particular query, right? So this particular query is returning me a result of 6049, and then the outer query will work where owner ID equal to owner ID in 6049. Okay, when you combine to work on this is the pet owned by Debbie. His name is her name is Biscuit and it's a female one. Okay. Now, do remember subquery is a query that is query written within another query. This is what is the query? The root query is known as the master query. The master query is written without the brackets. In the subquery, how do you identify what is subquery, what is non-subquery, right? The query that is not written within the bracket is the master query. Up to this much, which part of the query is written within the bracket? At least I know this is for sure the subqueries. Okay. Why? Anything written within the bracket is a subquery. The select query that is written within a bracket is the subquery. What is my master query? The query that is not written within the bracket. This part is the master query, right? In the subquery, the subquery is executed first. Whatever the value it computes, that value is returned to the outer query, right? The value that is evaluated by the internal query is the owner ID is 6049. That is passed to the outer query, and then the outer query run select star from pet where the owner ID equal to 1049. That is what a subquery is. A query within a query is known as the subquery. When the query is executing, if you are executing the internal query as well at the column level, if the query is written at the column level, then it is known as a correlated subquery. And for each row of the outer query, the inner query is executed once. Do remember, in the case of a subquery, the subquery is executed first and all the data is written as an input to the outer query. That is the in case of the subquery. But in case of a correlated subquery, outer rows query value is passed to the inner rows value, right? How does that particular thing happen? Let us understand what is the okay. Let me take a pause. Did you still understand what is a subquery? A query within a query. This particular query is known as a subquery. A query that is written within a bracket after the where condition is a subquery. How many columns you can write within the subquery? Only one column can be written within a subquery. If you try to write multiple column within a subquery, it will throw error. Okay. In the case of a subquery, it is written after the where condition. In case of a subquery, it is written. In case of a subquery, it is executed first, then followed by the master query. What is a correlated subquery then? Right? Correlated subquery is a query that gets executed at the column level. How does that query execute? I want to select name of my pet and the name of the owner. Okay, who is the pet and who is his owner? I want to display that. Tell me the pet name, the pet ID. I want to display these two from the pet table. I want to display these two from the pet table, and then I want to get the pet owner name. Okay, but the owner name is not within the pets table, right? Owner name is there in the pet owner table, but I want to display that. Do remember the owner name doesn't belong to the pet table. Is that correct? The pet table in the left side, you don't see the owner name column here. Is that correct? Here, I know the owner name column is available in the pet owner table. So how do I get this pet owner table at the column level? So I will put a subquery here. Can you see I'm starting to write a subquery here. How do I know it is a subquery? Because open bracket, close bracket. Then I will write a select query. I will try to get the select owner name from pet owner table, where pet owner table name I will give owner O. I will give a table alias. I will say owner table, or I will not give anything for the namesake from pet owner table, where I will say pet owners, where pet owner tables owner ID equals to pets tables owner ID. For the readability sake, I'm just breaking it down so that you can read it out. Clear? What I'm trying to do, I'm selecting all the data from the pet table. Do you remember what is my outer query? Outer query is from the pet table. What is my subquery? Subquery is written at the column level, so it is a subquery, but it is known as a correlated subquery. Why? Because it is not written after the where condition. It is written within the column list. If a subquery is written at the column list, then it is known as a correlated subquery. What I'm trying to do, I'm saying that when you are trying to evaluate my owner name, you have to pass. Can you see? This is my owner name, Blackie, whose pet ID is this, owned by the owner known as Robert. Rumba is owned by Charles. Simba is owned by Ed. Killer is owned by Paula, right? This is how I could derive the owner name from another table, owner name from pet owner table, while I am selecting the data from the pet table. Okay. This is what is known as a correlated subquery. What is important to understand in a correlated subquery? The property of a correlated subquery is always it is written at the column label. What is column label? Select anything that you written after the select clause and before between the from clauses are the column or expression or something, right? It is written as the column label. Okay, that means you are going to write it between the select and the from clause. When you are doing the subquery, you are writing. It was not written here. It was not written at the column label. It was written after the where condition. Is that understanding correct? It is a subquery is written after the where condition. A correlated subquery is written at the column level. How do you know it is a subquery? It is written within a bracket. That is the clarity that it is a subquery. It is also written as a select query. That a query written within a bracket is known as a subquery. So here a query written at, within a bracket, right? Query means select query. Okay, a DQL query written within a bracket is known as a subquery. Now a DQL has a select command, so it is a query. Now what I'm trying to do, whenever it is getting the black key, it is trying to get the object black key, right? First record came black key. What it is trying to do from the pet table, whatever is the owner ID of black key, it is passing here. What I'm passing, whatever is the owner ID for the black key, you pass it as a parameter to this particular query, the query, whatever value will come out. Say for an example, I will write also the owner ID for the example sake. Okay, for the understanding purpose, what it will do, it is doing this way. What it is doing, it is passing owner ID 5168. It found that Blackie's owner is 5168. It is passing 5168 here. It is passing 5168 and it is telling, tell me the name of the pet owner where the pet's owner ID is 5168. It is getting that owner name. In for the second row, it is saying, tell me the pet owner, tell me the owner name whose owner ID is 5508. Tell me the owner name whose owner ID is 3086. Tell me the owner name whose owner ID is 7908. So what is the difference between a subquery and correlated subquery? They work in parallel. They do not go serially. For every row of outer query, the inner query will be executed once. What is that? For every row of the outer query, inner query will be computed once. That means we'll pass 5168, we'll compute who is the owner name and then get it. We'll pass 5508, we'll execute the data from the owner table and get Charles, right? So in case of subquery gets executed one. In case of a correlated subquery gets executed n depending upon number of rows written by the query. That means in case of a subquery, it will ever execute once and then followed by the master query. In case of a correlated subquery, in this particular record, I have 102 rows. If you can see my cursor movement, you can see this 102 rows written at the bottom of my grid, right? At the corner of my screen, bottom corner, right? 102 rows. So this particular query will be executed 102 times. For every row, it will be executed once. That is what a correlated subquery is. Anybody ask the question, is it clear now? Sir, when to use in exactly? First, I will take a pause. Are you clear? Whoever has asked the question, what is subquery and correlated subquery? Is it clear to all? Can I get an yes or no? Can I get some answer? Yes or no? Is it audible? Is it understood? Can I get a yes or no? Which means correlated subquery increases execution time? Absolutely not. It does not increases execution time, but it because it executes so many times, there is a possibility to increase the execution time. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Because it
thank
is
you, Rahul.
executing, say for an example, 100. 100 times you are executing for 100 rows, you may not see the difference because you might see the execution timing 00. But if you execute a correlated subquery on a million record, you will see the execution time increasing. Why? For every row, the evaluation will happen once. That is why the increase in the time will be associated. Okay.
Basically, the subqueries are using in result data sets, like in every time. I am working in some data analyst. This data analysts are using mainly subqueries. Some 2-3.
Subqueries are used only to compute. Do remember, subqueries are used to compute. Correlated subqueries are used to evaluate. That is the
Yeah,
difference.
evaluate the data in 2 or more tables.
Correct. It is a equivalent of a join query. If you once we understand the join tomorrow, right? Tomorrow and on day after we'll study a lot of concept. We'll study about the join and other thing, and it is correlated subquery is exactly providing the same capability of a join. Exactly same capability of a join, but it is expensive. It is expensive. Okay. I would
The
recommend do not use correlated. Sorry.
computing time is taking much more, right?
Computing
Compared to
time is computing time will be much more as compared to join in case of subqueries, correlated subqueries. Correlated subquery will execute the query again and again and again and again for every row of data, right? Join doesn't work that way. So joins are very faster operation as compared to the correlated subquery. So that's why the interview question is, which is faster, whether a correlated subquery is faster or a join is. Okay, got it? Is join expensive or correlated subquery? Answer is correlated subqueries are expensive because the correlated subquery execute once for every line, every row of the outer query. That is where it is expensive.
yeah, okay, excellent, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Anybody got that particular perspective? Somebody asked, I didn't remember who, but it is Kalyan. Kalyan, did you understand that particular thing? Okay, fine. I will assume that as no. We'll stop here. Like we discussed, please follow this particular pattern. Do remember, if you are going via the way I am teaching, you are actually prepared for your interviews. Trust me, students, you might feel like you are not seeing my face. It is putting some extra pressure on you. Had there I been in the class, it would be different. Absolutely not. You can ask your question now also, right? How do you want to go ahead and do that? I'm saying something, you can't pause it, right? I will say that you have to take your question, wait for that particular thing because there are 13, 14 students. You just can't ask the question even in the class that way, right? I will give you time and then you will go ahead and ask the question. You can do the same thing online as well. In class, I'm very focused that I have to talk about all the interview question. I will explain everything. What I'm trying to say, when I say you take note, then only you take note, or else just watch my screen. That is what you should do during the class. After the class, just go and repeat the recording. Whatever you have understood, repeat the recording. I will try to post whatever query I'm doing in the chat window. In that way, you can actually start practicing those queries and simultaneously, right? So starting tomorrow, we'll do it in a different way and see how the things runs, right? Queries are at basic level. There is nothing called as complex query. If I have to teach you complex query, you will just leave the class and you will say that I am not able to understand, because the complex query can span up to 1,000 lines. You are not able to understand the basic 5-line query? If I start teaching you 1,000 line of query, would you be able to understand at all, right? So expect to learn basic so that you can write complex on your own, right? I can't teach you complex queries. The reason being, if I start complex, you will not come to the class starting tomorrow. That is a fact. Okay. So if you see that session is taught at a basic level, that is the purpose of the teaching. I can't share my contact number. That is against rule, which means correlated subqueries. Is join expensive? Is join expensive correlate? I have answered that. Contact number, no, I can't. When to use in exactly. Whenever you want to evaluate multiple data set at the same time, say for an example, you want to evaluate, tell me all the pet name, select all the pet names where the pet id is, where the pet id in from the list of values, okay, where pet id in a list of value. List of values means more than one value, okay. When your pet id is from a list of value, or I want to say not pet id, maybe I will say where where age in, I want to verify, tell me all the pet names where the pet id is between, or between 2 3. I want to only see those pets where the pet id are from this age group. This is what my question is, right? When I have to compute a list of values from a, when I want to see data by computing a list of value, then you have to use the in operator. What is the alternative of this in operator? The alternative of in operator is, how the in operator works, let's see that. The in operator work in this way, where age equals to 2, or or age equals to 3, or age equal to 7. Instead of writing so many or operator, I can write a in operator. The both the queries return the same result. What I'm saying, select all the pet where the age is 2 or 3 or 7. Whatever record, how many? 24 record. If I use the same query using in, what would be my answer? Same 24 record, right? So in operator is nothing but writing the same value as the or operator. When you are computing data for more than one value set, then you should use the in operator. That is where you should use in. Kalyan, I hope you got the perspective now. I hope we should take a break now. It is almost way beyond my assigned time. Hope we'll see and learn more. And like I said, you attempt the question what you can. It is not like you have to attempt every question and then get yourself strained. You will be able to attend all this question once our session progresses as well. So some question you may see like it is not taught how it is asked. You can just learn it. You can do Googling and try to learn it ahead, and during the session you will be getting the context. Oh, it was taught during a join operation. Okay, it is a delete operation, or it is a some other operation. It is asked ahead, right? I didn't talk about the constraint, but then I have asked you questions around the primary key, unique key, and check constraint, right? I know that. The purpose is you get yourself aware and start doing Google. And when you start doing Google, you will study. When you study, you will come to know about certain more topic ahead of time. So when the session happen, you are prepared. That is the only context. So do not get so have patience will be my approach. So thank you guys. Talk to you tomorrow session. Bye.